should ever enter where we are going. Beware what lurks in the depths of the Libtard zone.
Number 10.
My hot take of the moment is the most likely person to be the Democratic nominee is Kamala Harris. And
please, please let that happen. Please give her a full campaign run. Don't let her come in at the last moment. Let's see a full year-long worth of Kamala. I beg of the Democrats, if you truly want to entertain America, please do that. Please, please.
Every poll, it's usually her and Gavin Newsom neck and neck.
I have a list here.
She's usually ahead. If I may just finish.
I have a better list.
She is usually ahead.
I love her. She was great, but she didn't win one time. What makes you think she's going to win again?
I find it hard to believe that based on the money she raised, the name ID she has, and I don't think the party would pass over her for a generic white man.
I like Jon Ossoff. He's 39 years old. Yeah. I like Josh Shapiro, 53 years old.
I love Josh
Gavin
Shapiro.
Newsom, 58.
That's the problem.
And J.B. Pritzker, 61.
What about...
Did she say Pritzker? It was bad enough when she said Newsom. That she thinks Pritzker could run. Listen to what she just said. She said Jon Ossoff, the nut job from Georgia, Gavin Newsom, which he might be in jail by then. And then she said J.B. Pritzker? Josh Shapiro? That ain't ever going to happen, and we all know why, because, you know, unfortunately, you think it's bad enough that people in America won't vote for a woman. They're not going to vote for Josh Shapiro. So Josh Shapiro is just basically disqualified because of who he is. That's it. Sorry, I don't feel that way, but too many people do. So you're down to the other three: Ossoff, Newsom, and Pritzker. For the party that loves DEI, it's amazing that her choices were not Kamala, not the black woman, but these guys, these white guys. And out of those white guys, you picked Pritzker and Newsom. Good luck with that.
Pete Buttigieg. What about Pete Buttigieg? Wes Moore. There are some people that are just like...
Wes Moore is good.
Wes Moore is phenomenal. And this is one of the things I love about him.
We all love Buttigieg. Are they going to vote for a gay guy?
I'm not Democrat.
I don't think she was supposed to say that on television. I was going to vote for that kind of guy. So the preclusion of Shapiro and Buttigieg, who's got his own problems as well, now you're still looking... You got, wow, that's it. That's their bullpen. Good luck.
I'm not going to break the party down based on they won't vote for gay white women. I think the identity reduces the charisma of the character, the person in front of us.
Charisma? Pete Buttigieg? J.B. Pritzker? Gavin Newsom? Charisma? I don't think you should bring out charisma when talking to those guys. Democrats could have had some great guys back in the day before they dumped his airplane into the sea. JFK Jr., charisma. JFK Jr. would have had women all going to the polls. Charisma. Now you got these guys? Newsom and Pritzker? No charisma.
Not in reality.
No, I don't think that's reality. Guess what? You reduce. No.
Number 9.
They have made efforts to try to get the abuses and excesses of ICE out of the headlines.
All right, so this is fantastic. Ana Navarro, because every time you say a Spanish name, you have to have it a little roll of the tongues. And Ana Navarro, she's going to talk about the bad things that ICE has done. And she gets confronted here by somebody, and it's juicy as hell because, well, first of all, you have to get past the rolling of the tongues.
After Minnesota, which was, I think, such an outrage for most Americans when they saw people being killed in the streets of our country. This last case, it's something else that's not happening in a vacuum. It's the latest case that's happened, but there's been now at least 5 people killed by ICE in the streets of America.
All right, 5. And she acts like they were hunted. She acts like these 5 people, ICE had the scope on them. and ICE decided they were going to eliminate these 5 people. You know, sort of like what the illegals have been doing to Americans. But no. I've got 5, and I rolled their names off my tongue here, which is, you probably won't even, I believe she almost does these people an injustice, because every time she names one, like, what did she just say? But wait till the other woman gets a hold of her.
Ruben Rey Martinez, they killed a young man. They killed in San Padre Island in Texas. Silverio Villegas Gonzalez.
Vegas. Why do you do that? Just say his name. I don't understand what you're trying to do. Teach us Spanish? I don't know. I don't get the dialect. I don't speak Spanish. Just say the name. But every time you see this, Saturday Night Live did a skit. I got to find if I can find that skit where they actually made fun of people throwing the names off their tongue like we're supposed to understand.
Porter, they killed him in L.A. Renee Good and Alex Preddy, they killed them in Minnesota. And now Lorenzo Salgado Araujo. There's been over...
Do you know the names as well of Americans who've been killed by illegal immigrants? Do you have that?
Bam! Out of left field here. The other woman comes in and goes, you got the names of all the people they killed? Well, you weren't supposed to hear that.
I know some of the names. I don't have the list, but I do know some of the names.
What are their names? What are some of their names?
Listen, we have heard all of the names.
No, just what are some of the names?
This is not me doing a contest of whether you know the names or whether I know the names. I want to pronounce these names.
So you can bring names to the argument, but she can't. Again, just like with Van Hollen talking to Rubio, I get to talk. I get to be the one who does this stuff. You're not allowed to. Hey, what are the names of the people who got killed that are Americans? You know them? No? Well, I don't need to know them.
Because I think we need to put names and faces and stories.
I agree. Right? Absolutely.
Okay, so
and to the faces of Americans who have been killed by illegal immigrants as well.
The people they killed
absolutely
don't have criminal records.
Did the Americans have criminal records? Did the Americans that these people have come in this country and have done things to, did they have criminal records, or were they just plucked off the street, had ungodly things done to them, and then discarded like trash? But she couldn't name a single one. You worked for CNN, you brought in these 5 names of the people who were killed by ICE, and it never dawned on her, you're going to talk about the Americans? Uh-oh. She was in deep poop right there. I loved it. I don't know who that woman was, the blonde woman, but thank you very much.
Number 8.
Their superpower is taking something, making it sound common sense, making it on its surface, address a problem that most people, all people, might agree on. But then, actually using it as a back door, front door window to be able to impede upon your civil liberties.
Like, all of us want to be able to go into our CVS or Walgreens and not have our deodorant and our razors and whatever locked up. It's really annoying.
We even
I can agree. None of us wants to go into a CVS or a Walgreens and find stuff locked up. I don't live in those places, thankfully. I walk into my CVS, I want a vitamin or whatever, I just pick it off the shelf. So I don't live there. Number 2, why do you think they have it locked up? Can we address that? Can we address why they got to lock up deodorant? I don't know. What happens if they don't lock it up? Anybody want to talk about that? Now you're mad because businesses are doing risk control. Because businesses are looking at things like they steal this all the time. So let's go ahead and lock this up. Supervisor, somebody here needs some deodorant. I'll be right there. I'll be right there. And they keep it under lock and key, but they're not addressing that part. They're not saying, hey, the reason why the deodorant's locked up because stanky ass people can't afford it and they steal it.
Rate the deodorant.
Exactly. I'm always just like, this country loves mass incarceration.
We love this.
Even inanimate objects.
Not the deodorant got locked up. Oh, Lord.
But so
baby deodorant's over there in the trial size area.
They're mad because people get locked up for shoplifting. What is wrong with these people? Yeah, I can't believe this country is hooked on incarceration. I mean, you can't believe that they have to lock up stuff and people try to steal it. That should all be free. You shouldn't have to worry about going in someplace and calling the supervisor to open it up if you want a straight razor or something. Well, how about telling the idiots in those towns, stop stealing stuff?
Number 7.
How do you rate Donald Trump's second term so far, sir?
I feel like this is one of the first presidents that's actually doing what they said they was going to
do. You know, when you decide you're going to take calls from the audience, especially without a producer, you might want to expect that you're going to get some calls that you're not really prepared for. And Charlemagne, the little G God, got a phone call here that he wasn't expecting from a brother man.
Like most people go on their campaign trail, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and they get in office and they don't do none of that. Like he's doing everything he said he was gonna do.
Well, no, not necessarily.
I feel like it's right for the country.
Because he said on day one he was going to bring the price of groceries down. He said on day one he was going to bring inflation down. You know, he said that he won the election on one word, which was groceries. I mean, clearly people aren't feeling that relief yet in their pockets.
What do you do? Clearly, normal Americans understand a campaign promise and understand that there's pretty much no way on day one anything's going to happen. But these people have seeded their audience into thinking it's been a huge failure, even though things are much better now. Unfortunately for him, he ran into a black member of his audience who's going to school him.
For a living, sir?
I work for a bank.
Okay.
But, okay, so everybody know in your right mind, there's no way somebody could do something instantly. But in terms of what has happened within this year, it's crazy. Like it's no way that you could see the last 4 years and how garbage it was, and then look at just this.
Yeah. There's no way you can look at the last 4 years and see how garbage it was. How does Charlemagne even attempt to answer that? People who actually work for a living, this guy says he works at a bank, people who actually had to go out every single day and do stuff, rather than people who are sitting there watching or listening to Charlemagne, actually know what's going on.
First half of the year and think stuff is not going in a positive direction.
I'm holding my president accountable to the things that he said he was going to do, and those things haven't been done yet.
I got you. He said he was going to bring stuff down instantly, do this instantly. Okay.
He said he was going. He said he was going to end all the wars immediately, day one. He said he was going to do these things on day one.
Got you. So you want to be literal to that sense? Cool. I understand. You're right. He didn't do all of these things instantly, but I feel like everything is going in the right direction as planned. Did you talk about the European bill? Did you talk about stuff that is happening in the positive direction?
No, he didn't. They can't talk about stuff in a positive direction. It is the antithesis of every liberal podcaster and host is to ignore what actually is happening. So they must go back to January of 2024, whatever, 25, whatever it was. They have to go back to the following day. Hey, oh, you didn't do it on day one. Yeah, here we are a year later, and they're still holding on to day one.
Number 6.
You got attacked by your rivals for calling yourself a physician, not just a doctor, even though you don't have a valid state medical license in New York or Michigan, which apparently is what you need legally to call yourself a physician.
So this guy is running for, he's another one that's socialist. He's running for Senate in Michigan. And he's made up all kinds of stuff. Doesn't matter. They got their hooks in this demographic. They're gonna try to push him over the line. Hey, you're not a doctor. Oh, you're a doctor, but you're not that kind of doctor. Stop telling people you're like Dr. Jill Biden and just say, I'm a doctor of, baby weaving. I'm not a physician. Stop lying to people. And what's funny is you got a complete liberal asshat asking the other asshat, and he's putting him on the line.
Wish you'd just stuck to calling yourself a doctor, which you are, to avoid all of this controversy and attacks on your physician status?
You know, at the end of the day, it's not about whether or not I'm a physician or a doctor. The question is, can you see a doctor? It's not about
It's not about me lying. It's not about whether or not I'm a liar. It's about, can you see a doctor? I want to meet the people who say they can't see a doctor. Because as far as I know, working people who have insurance can see a doctor. People who are broke ass, they can see a doctor. They got Medicaid. So who is it that can't see a doctor? And I've wondered this the entire time when they're like universal Medicare. We already have that. We already have it to a certain extent because you probably are paying it. You probably are paying your premium, and then the other people get it for free already. So your audience, your demographic, they don't understand because they already get it for free. So how are you going to convince other people to go ahead and stand in line like Canada and never see a doctor in 24 months and become the emergency room becomes your personal physician? How is that even a sellable point? But you can't ask him because he's not really a doctor. He plays one on television.
education. It's about whether or not your kid gets a good education. So
Well,
I'm just not spending
that's a good
time.
line, but people would say it's also about, did you tell the truth?
Well, I would say that I was the health director for the city of Detroit, and I've done more to provide.
That's not what he asked you. You see, enough people on television don't interview people the correct way. He should have stopped them and said, that's not what I asked you. I asked you, are you a doctor? It's a very simple question. If you ask me if I'm a doctor, I say, well, kind of. I'm a doctor of love. You mean Gene Simmons? I guess. But other than that, no, I'm not a physician. Very honestly, nope. I can't treat anybody. I can't even treat myself if I get cut. I got to go ask Robin.
More people health care or eliminate their medical debt than most doctors have done in their practice career.
How do you know? You're not a doctor, so how do you know what a doctor has done in his medical career, his or her medical career? And these people just let them vomit all over their stage or their desk instead of asking them. But this guy is creating quite the highlight reel for himself.
It really sparked my curiosity because I watched it. I didn't watch it live, but I did watch it this morning. Is that Haley Stevens has been criticizing you for not releasing your personal finance.
Doesn't he have that Mandami look to him? I'm starting to see this familiarity where they just sit there with their, perfectly coiffed beard and that evil smile and just sit there, and they know they're lying to you and you know they're lying to you, but nobody wants to admit that they're being lied to, including the people on TV, while he sits there and you won't believe this answer. No, you won't believe this. He's good.
Disclosure until after the primary. The former strategist in me is like, why not just release it and take her talking point away?
We absolutely will, and we intend to. Sometimes finances are complicated.
The question, Mr. Little Mullah, was why don't you just release it? His answer, well, we intend to. There is no intend. You just release it. It's complicated. Finances are complicated. For you people who don't know, I just want to let you know, I'm not sure where you come from. I don't know how you get your job, but finances are complicated. It's very hard for me. It'd be way over your head because finances are complicated. And I'm surprised she didn't just say, go F yourself. Go F yourself.
And I can only control what I can control. And
so you can't control releasing your finances? You can't control issuing a document? These people are good with their forked tongues and their little cute smiles. They're so used to bullshit. Excuse my language. You call it what it is. Hey, why don't you release your stuff? It's so complicated.
Unfortunately, when it comes to tax documents, sometimes they're really complicated to get. We are absolutely going to release it.
If somebody you're talking to and you're asking a question and this happens, you don't even know, it's like they start closing their eyes. You sit in front of an FBI investigator and do that. Oh, you don't even understand. I'm trying my best, but it's really, you're lying. At that point in the movie, they come and stick the battery cables to your nipples and go, you're lying. We can see you're lying.
Or the primary.
Haley Stevens has also attacked you and Mike Rogers for being millionaires, who she says conveniently did not file their 2026 personal financial disclosures. You've sought an extension through August 13th, I believe, which is after the primary. Was this to avoid transparency with your voters? Why not release them before the election?
No.
All right, what's the question? The question is, people are saying you're a millionaire. Oh my God, that's such a bad thing. Oh, I can't believe he might be a millionaire. If you're a millionaire, you're proud. Hey, I've done well. Me and my wife, man, we've been killing it. We've been doing really well, and God has blessed us, and I'm not ashamed of it. You a millionaire? Oh, I can't talk about that.
Taxes get complicated.
And he starts touching his face and stuff. Your kid couldn't do that. Your child, hey, did you break that vase? Well, this guy shouldn't even be on television. How the hell can he be in lockstep with the Republican? He can't sit still. His eyes closed. He touches himself instead of just saying, yeah, we're millionaires. You know, where I used to come from, that wasn't bad words. Success didn't get you disqualified. Yeah, I'm a millionaire. Oh, that's it. You got it. You bring somebody else in. He's as bad as Graham Plattner. He's a millionaire.
My wife and her family own property abroad, and so getting all those tax forms is a thing. And this is...
What kind of a thing? Getting all those documents abroad is a thing. You mean you have to go to your safe deposit box? I mean, because I'm pretty sure if you own property abroad, you didn't leave abroad and come home without some proof that you own XYZ property. Come on, I've been in real estate. You know, it's not that tough. Hey, we're closing, we're buying this, here are your documents, here you're closing, and take these home and put them in a safe place. It's really tough when you own property someplace else. It's very hard.
By the way, the same extension that...
she says you're a millionaire and you're hiding that.
Well, if you take my assets and my wife's assets together, then I guess they add up to something like that, but...
I knew you'd love this. I know you're sitting back going, he didn't just say that. Yeah. Well, if you take mine and my wife's, yeah, I guess it could be something like that. So yes, the answer is yes, we are millionaires. Love it. Bathe in it. Get the warmth of collectivism. Be proud. You've made $1 million or so. And he can't say it. That's how bad it is in the Democrat Party. He's so uncomfortable. He's trying to make up excuses. Well, if you add up my money and my wife's money, your wife, right? So in most states, that means together. You have commonality. You can't separate that.
My career has never been about trying to maximize on money. Otherwise, I would have just gone and been a surgeon. But, you know.
No, you wouldn't have, because you're still not a doctor. I tried. Let me just tell you guys, I tried. There's a guy down here who's a socialist, and he's running for office. And I'm like, Ashley, see if this guy's even willing to come on. And she contacted his office, and his office went and looked at the channel, and his secretary or whatever called Ashley back and said, I don't know if it'd be a good fit. And Ashley said, why? Because it seems like he's very MAGA. Yeah, but he lives in Florida. He's 2 towns over from you. You know, he talks to a lot of people in Florida. This might be some place for you to, you know, show your platform. And I guess maybe they watched the Mark Mitchell video because that was it.
Focus has always been on public service, and it's interesting to try and compare apples to oranges here. If you file on your own, then of course your assets look like one thing, which Congresswoman Stevens does. If you file with a partner, your assets might look like something else.
Wow. Wow. You know why that works? Let me tell you why his statement there works. Because most of the people voting for him have never filed income taxes. So he can make it sound it's extremely complicated, way more than you guys can understand. I got property in Uganda and I can't find the Ugandan documents. And the courier got lost at the airport. It's a pain in the butt. I don't think I'll have anything till August. Okay. Oh, by the way, when me and my wife file here, it doesn't really, it's completely different. Doesn't necessarily mean you're talking to idiots. Every single one of you who have filed taxes and are married, you're like, what in the hell did he just say? Nothing. That's why they get away with it. They get away with it because they talk to people who have no friggin' idea what they're saying. If nobody has ever filed taxes, if nobody has ever filed a schedule and showed, assets, if they're just filing the 1040 EZ, that's bad enough. I bet you most of the people he's talking to haven't even filed a 1040 EZ form. Never mind his schedule of assets.
Number 5.
For those who have watched budget after budget, it is tempting to assume that we are engaging in the same dance as our predecessors. Let me assure you, nothing about this is typical. That's why our solutions won't be either. There are 2 paths to bridge this gap. The first is the most sustainable and the fairest path. This is the path of ending the drain on our city and raising taxes on the richest New Yorkers and the most profitable corporations. The onus for resolving this crisis should not be placed on the backs of working and middle-class New Yorkers. If we do not fix...
But he just did. He just did what he said he wouldn't do. He voted to give all politicians in New York City an 18.2% raise. He's been here a couple months, and he already said this isn't enough money. I need more money. What do you need more money for? I thought you guys were against capitalism. I want more. He is going to be making more than the governor of Texas and Florida combined. He is raising his personal salary to nearly $380,000 a year, less than a few months into office. Wow, that warm breath of collectivism doesn't seem so collective right now.
It's this structural imbalance, and do not heed the calls of New Yorkers to raise taxes on the wealthy. This crisis will not disappear. It will simply return, year after year, forcing harder and harsher choices each time. And if we do not go down the first path, the city will be forced down a second, more harmful path. Faced with no other choice, the city would have to exercise the only revenue lever fully within our own control. We would have to raise property taxes.
Okay, so you're telling the good people of New York, you're coming on television and telling the good people of New York, if you don't raise taxes, if I don't get paid more, I'm going to have to go after your property. Because, me and everybody else in City Hall, we all need more money. I cannot believe the people of New York haven't begun getting the pitchforks and torches. This guy is personally saying, let me see if I can find it relatively quick here. The entire schedule of all the people here it is. I want you to see this. This is going to absolutely be mind-boggling for you when you see these numbers here. These numbers are absolutely... they wouldn't be disgusting if it weren't for the fact it's him. Look at this, if you haven't seen this. The new proposed salary for New York City's elected officials are insane. Mondami's proposed salary would be more than the combined salaries, as I said, of the governors of Florida and Texas. The New York City Council members would have higher salaries than any state legislator in all 50 states. So here's the actual numbers. I said 380, it's 305. So the mayor would go from 258 to 305 because 258 just ain't enough. It's just not enough. I'm going to have to raise your property taxes if I don't, get my 305. The city council members go from 148.5 to 175. The council speaker from 164 to 194. Public advocate, 184.8 to 218, whatever a public advocate is. The comptroller goes from 209 to 247. The borough presidents go from 179 to 211. So much for being socialist. So much for being anti-capitalist. You're telling me you can't live as a socialist. You can't live on $258 $20,000 a year. Yes, New York's more expensive, but it shouldn't matter because, you're a socialist. That is simply incredible that he cannot live on $20,000 a year. 20,000, not going to cut it. I got to go at least to. Best I can do is 25 grand a month. You get me to 25 grand a month, and I probably won't have to raise your property taxes. But anything less than 25 grand, it ain't going to work for me. I got to make 25 grand a month. I broke that down so you guys didn't have to do the math. That's what he's telling the good people of New York. He's telling the good people of New York, pay me, the socialist. Can't do it. Can't do it for you.
Number 4.
For the first time in my whole career, John, I have voters telling me that they're worried that the president's going to cancel elections, that he's going to declare martial law. There are people who actually have said to me that they're worried.
You know who's worried about it? Democrats. Democrats are worried he's going to cancel the election. Democrats are worried about there being people watching the polls. Democrats are the ones who are all freaked out about what may happen in terms of the votes and looking at ballots. She's so full of crap. There's nobody out there going, oh, we might seize the elections. Oh, no, what are we going to do?
They're not even going to have elections in November. And, I try to reassure them, but when the president makes a move like this, getting rid of all of the rest of the Election Assistance Commission members, that was the central focus of lawsuits where he signed an executive order, remember, that tried to force states to turn over their citizenship roles and have the Election Assistance Commission change the form, the vote by mail form, to ask whether someone's a citizen. And a court stopped him from doing that. So he is doing everything he can to control.
You want to finish that? You sued to stop a court from doing that. And then what happened, Debbie? What's happened since then? Oh, yeah, a higher court called the Supreme Court said, go ahead, you can fire him. How do you leave that part out of the story? Yeah, we didn't like it, and we sued, and the judge said we were right, and that's where she left it. She didn't say, well, the Supreme Court said you can go ahead and fire all of them, get rid of them.
Control elections.
Number 3.
And that's what I have to say to America. Aren't you tired? Aren't you?
Nope.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
Tired of being embarrassed? Aren't you tired of not having anybody hear the desires or your problem? Aren't you tired of having to make excuses that don't make sense? Aren't you tired of things you once believed in being eroded and having to contort yourself to make? Aren't you tired?
Nope, not at all. Can't wait for more. Can't wait for more. Love it. I'm pretty sure most of you are like, nope, not tired. I can run a couple more races. We're ready to go. Tear it all down. Do what you need to do. Get rid of these idiots. Nope, not tired. See, that's the problem with these people. They speak in such cocoons and echo chambers that they don't realize there are tens of millions of people like, burn it down. Get rid of these Democrats. Get rid of these socialists. Not tired at all. Not tired. We're ready to run. We'll keep going.
It's an exhausting thing to have to retell yourself stories you know don't make sense. It's exhausting that somebody cares more about a game than your life, or more about a ballroom than your living room.
Why do I give a shit about your living room? Not mine. See, that's one of the problems with the Democrat Party. They want you to worry about somebody else's living room. I need to go out there and make sure that woman has what she needs, her and my grandson who happen to be out there. Why do I care about your living room? It's not my responsibility. It's not your responsibility. I'm sorry if you can't afford to feed your children. If you're capable, if you are working and you need help, a bridge, we are here to help people bridge the time before they can do what they need to do. But we're not adopting you. You can't afford a big screen TV? Sorry, read a book. And I think this is the problem, is that they expect everybody to have the same thing. No, if you can't afford a 60-inch screen, so be it. There were times in my life where I couldn't afford a 60-inch screen. I had a little box that I would watch. Me and my roommate would come home and in between jobs and watch a little football or something. I didn't feel bad. Didn't feel bad at all. Had my bucket of chicken, ate my food, went to sleep, took a shower sometimes. Not enough. My mom used to get mad. But anyway, nobody cared about my living room. Why do I care about theirs?
Or more about a pool than your being able to pay. Like, aren't you tired? And when you are tired, I suspect things to change. But I'll never forget, and it was the first time I'd ever looked and said, what part I played in this? Who am I in this? But the words, aren't you tired? And when America is tired enough, I suspect things will be different.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
My grandson, as I said to you, is down here training for his senior year. I've got him hooked up with some trainers, and they're whooping his butt. They are making, he gets done, and he can barely sit, and the water's he's just drenched. And 2 days ago, I looked over at him, and I said, are you tired? Is this too much? Hell no. Let's go. See, yes, he's from my blood. I knew before I asked him what the answer to that question was. I know that the trainers told him when he signed in the first day, because the trainer looked him right in the eye, and the trainer said to him, just want you to know, I'm going to kick your ass. Straight up. So at that point, he had a choice. He could have said, I want to go home. Let's get out of here. That looks like it might be too tough. Or A, because there wasn't a B choice, A, he looked at the guy and he goes, I know where I want to be. I know where I want to play. I know I want to play Division I. I want to do this. Bring it. Let's go. And every single day since then, it's been the same thing day after day. A completely whooped-ass kid at the end of 2 hours who I looked at yesterday and didn't think he was going to get up out of the chair. And you have to know when you're training for football or anything in life like that, that's what makes you better. When somebody can break you to the point where you got nothing left. And today, a Saturday morning, he had to get up, and they took him to the weight room, and they told him, we're going to work to failure. If you've never lifted weights to the point where you lift to failure, is when you feel like you don't have another rep in you, that's when you start counting. See, everybody can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't count those. That's just warming up. When you get to the point where you don't know if you can get the next one, that's 1. That's 2. And you may not get to 3 or 4. That's total failure. Everything else to that point was just getting to failure. Yesterday, he surprised the hell out of me. We took videos and sent it around. Talk about he did a personal best. This kid walked in there, and I have the video. I'm gonna show it to you. I got to block out his face, but he deadlifted 600 pounds. 17-year-old kid deadlifted 600 pounds. The coaches were like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, he got that. He got it. I tell you, I knew he had it. 600 pounds. Why? Because we don't quit. There's no quit in us. There's no quit in you. There's no quit in MAGA. No, we're not tired.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
2.
5 months after she shut down her daycare, booked a flight to London, and was arrested by the FBI.
Ms. Mahmoud, are you here to plead guilty today?
See, this is what they're used to. This is their culture. Yeah, there's no guy standing on the side of the road going, yeah, I got to hit that. I don't even know what that is. So, of course, they don't think that. Of course, they don't look at that and go, oh, man, she must really want it. Do you know what it is? Oh, I have no idea. It could be a robot. I have no idea what the hell that is. But anyway, what that is a fraudster. What that is a person who stole $10 million or $12 million. She stole $12 million. She don't even know how to dress in America. And then she pled guilty.
50-year-old Fahima Mahmoud admits she committed daycare fraud. Running Future Leaders Early Learning Center on 36th and Chicago Avenue in Minneapolis since 2015, Mahmoud collected the most Child Care Assistance Program, or CCAP, money in the state last year at $3.7 million. In federal court while entering her plea, Mahmoud and her attorney specified that there were children attending her daycare and that she has receipts. But the government didn't accuse her of inflating attendance at her center during the swift investigation that followed the attention in Minnesota placed on daycare fraud. Instead, the FBI learned from families that Mahmoud did not charge them the required copay to receive CCAP money, which provided incentive for more families to sign up. By pleading guilty to conspiracy to defraud the United States, Mahmoud admits receiving $4.63 million.
I can't with these people stealing our money. Millions. And as I've said before, there is no way in hell that these people came over on a boat, don't even know how to dress here, and stole millions of dollars. There's no way. Somebody had to be involved. Somebody had to tell them, do this, and by the way, kick back a certain amount to me. Now, the fact that she took a plea deal, there's got to be some people in Minneapolis with some butt clenching. She took a deal.
$1 million in taxpayer money with that scheme.
Ms. Mahmoud, any comment? Are you going to be able to pay back any of the money?
That's not all. Mahmoud also admits taking part in the Feeding Our Future meal fraud scheme, claiming to serve up to 60,000 meals per month to needy kids out of her daycare, fraudulently collecting another $850,000. And court papers say she diverted much of those taxpayer funds to buy real estate and go toward her other companies like...
Wait a second. Real estate and her other companies. So these people were just creating criminal enterprises. They have just came over here on the boats, and all of a sudden they're just stealing millions, buying property, creating businesses. Have you ever filed for an LLC? Just asking. And if you have, great. But if you haven't, would you know how? And then would you know how to get the funding and the millions of dollars that these people stole?
This autism center, which has generated another $3.1 million in taxpayer reimbursements over the last 5 years. What the government will seize when Mahmoud is sentenced has not yet been determined.
And sentencing will be slightly complicated because the judge can go as low as 2 years in prison or close to 7 years in prison if she puts the daycare fraud and the meal program fraud terms back to back. Rena.
Now, Lou, they used a different kind of prosecution. This went a little bit faster. Will we see something like that in the future?
This was a faster investigation because they didn't have to do all the surveillance to see.
Nah, that's not it. Sorry, Scooter. It's a faster prosecution because she sang. You're hearing the same names. You're hearing Feeding Our Kids and all this stuff. There's a group of people at this point that are singing. They are saying, he did it. That guy did it. I was just told to sign the papers. And so she's probably going to get like the hand slap and recoup the money. Where'd you send the money? Where'd you wire it to? By the way, we already know. Scott Bessent is tracing all this money. I'm going to talk to you guys tomorrow that some of you guys may be upset about Doge. Don't be. I bet you all of this stuff is wrapped up in Doge. I bet you every single one of these things is wrapped up in Doge. Why do we not need Doge? Because we got algorithms. we're able to go in and do all kinds of stuff that they did to actually find all this stuff.
If she was overcounting or inflating her numbers of her attendance, she wasn't making the parents pay their share of the reimbursement in order to get more of them to sign up. If there's other ones just like that, it's a quick way that they could charge more people daycare fraud.
All right, Lou. Thank you.
Media, I didn't see that on one of the big media stories. I didn't see it on CNN, didn't see it on MSNBC, didn't see it on CBS, NBC, ABC. Don't talk about the fraud. Never talk about the fraud. It's like Fight Club for Democrats.
Number 1.
She can connect any two events in history with yarn, thumbtacks, and unwarranted confidence. She doesn't need sources. She is the source. She once debated herself and lost twice. Intelligence agencies follow her Twitter just to see what they're doing next. She never met an obvious explanation she couldn't turn into a confusing 2-hour podcast. She possesses priceless secrets, but will share them with anyone for a small subscription fee. In her world, all roads lead to Israel, even cul-de-sacs. She is the most kooky podcaster in the world, but then again, the feds told us to say that.
I couldn't help it. I had to close on an upbeat. Now, I hope you. It's the Jews. The Jews did it. Oh my gosh. Oh, I hope this woman has to. I hope she gets sued into oblivion. I don't know who made that. That was like one of the best things I've ever seen. It's crazy. Oh boy. Oh boy.